I think the interesting thing is that none of us really know what we're doing. Winging it. I don't know what this is. I don't know what it will be, but for whatever reason, I feel super impressed on me to document as much as I can in as many ways as I can. I think when at InvestFest, I had that like realization of like, I'm really happy to be myself. I don't know why that kept dawning on me, but I'm like, I'm just happy to be myself, you know? I kept thinking about that a lot. Like, not, I don't know why if it even matters, but like, well, it matters to me, but finally feeling comfortable to be me. Mm-hmm. And not have to like, you know, I don't know. There was something about it. And I was just excited because, you know, my mom was in town and the excitement of the whole weekend, maybe that's why I was just feeling my best, you know. Mm-hmm. But it was interesting seeing the response of people. But anyway, yeah, getting to Charlotte, we drove down there and that was cool. We didn't listen to music the whole way.
Of course.
Of course not. A good old 3.5 hour conversation. I don't even know what me and my mom were talking about. Well, before the brunch, we went to Walmart. My mom was going to cook breakfast because we didn't really have to be there until like 2 o'clock. So we just got, you know, kind of gradually got ready, and then they had sent the cars to pick us up, which was really nice. And then I put on in the car, No Longer Bound, and I looked back and my aunt and her friends were back there crying. I'm like, what is going on? But that kind of became like our little theme song for the trip. We got to the brunch and it was so pretty. First of all, it was hot. I'm like, it's hot out here. But it was so pretty. They had flowers everywhere, and you know, it looked really, they did a really good job putting it together. We took some pictures outside, and then they took us to a green room, and they had all these little gifts for us, and that was really nice. And it was crazy because I think I was telling Jay that night after the event, I was like, I don't feel, it's like this weird feeling of feeling very whole. I feel like I felt like my whole self. But then this feeling of like, should I be more nervous? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, how come when I get on a stage, I'm not nervous? And so as I was talking to Jay about that experience and where my head was, I just kind of went down like this rabbit hole trail of thought. But I'm like, I feel my most whole self doing what we did on Sunday. Going to the brunch and getting on stage and speaking my experience. Because I'm only sharing whatever God has shown me or, you know, I've experienced through him.
Allow the enemy to accuse you out of your purpose. Yes. Don't allow him to accuse you out of where God is taking you. Because listen, I am outside of God, I am trash. If God were to expose me, oh man, it would be bad. Like I have done things that I'm not proud of. I have been things that I am not proud of. And the enemy will like to take those things that you have gone through and say that you're not worthy, you're not qualified. You have disqualified yourself, that marriage disqualified you, that those children out of wedlock disqualified you, that situation disqualified you, the rape disqualified you, the parents not being present in your life, that disqualified you, where you came from disqualified you, the neighborhood disqualified. The enemy will try to tell you that you're disqualified and you're not. Go back and read the manual. He uses the least of those. He used sinners. He used people who weren't the best. He used people who didn't look the best.
And that whole day, like being able to talk to people one-on-one and hear their stories and have those type of conversations and you know, just my family being with me, and you got like Jay being there and my aunt, and you know, everyone being kind of around, and it was like we were doing this thing together. It was like a team. We were, you know, it felt really good. And but then I thought about it, and I'm like, even when we did like any KFS stuff, like I'm not nervous, you know. And at first I thought I wasn't nervous because I had someone with me. I was like, oh, I have B next to me, so that makes me not nervous because, you know, I have somebody there and I'm not doing it by myself. And I always had that in my mind, approaching being in front of a camera, doing it that way. So then on Sunday, I felt the same. I didn't have any nervousness beforehand. Like, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't, like, there was nothing. I wish that, and I struggle with that. I'm like, why wasn't I? Because I feel like I've always heard, like, if it doesn't scare you, then maybe it's not God, right? If it doesn't, like, scare you to do. But then as I thought further through it, I was telling Jay, I'm like, that part doesn't scare me. The living it scares me. Like, living this thing out is what scares me. And not scares me in the sense of like, but I think what that fear is, like what my version of what that scared, like it should scare you, that type of feeling is that reverential fear of like, if I don't do this, or if I don't do this well, if I'm really not living it out in my real life, what that will do for them. Like, for, you know what I mean? Like, I would never put myself in a position to lead someone recklessly. Like, I take that very serious. And I always have. Anytime that I was, like, in any type of position of leadership, I take the people very serious. Like, when I moved down here and I was going to be managing the warehouse or whatever, like, sitting down and having a conversation with you guys was, like, important to me. You know what I mean? Like, that type of culture is important to me. And knowing that that God has graced me and gifted me with the opportunity of impact and influence, I don't take that lightly. Like, I don't take it as just a click of a follow and it's just social media or whatever. Like, I take it serious. Like, whatever you see, whatever I put out there, I want it to be a positive reflection of who he is. And I'm not perfect at it at all. And I haven't been, and that hasn't always been a priority. But in this season of my life, as God has, like, transformed my heart, it's become more important to me. But the thing that scares me is that reverential fear of not being fully committed to him in that process and in that gifting and in that influence and in that impacting. Like, I want to make sure that I'm stewarding that the best way possible and I'm not just being reckless with it. But yeah, I guess I kind of just felt like my whole self on Sunday, which was nice. And to prepare for the brunch, the only thing that kind of kept coming to my mind was, I don't even know what episode or what season it is, of The Chosen, where they depict the woman with the issue of blood. And that kept coming to me the more I thought about the brunch, because the title was Who Is She? And that was probably one of the most impactful episodes for me, because the way they expanded her story, because we don't know, we don't know who she is. We don't know her name. We just know her experience when she touched Jesus, and how they expanded on her story and kind of gave great context to like what that might have been like in that time. That was extremely impactful for me. And then to watch, because I know the story and I've read the scriptures, but to watch it and see someone depict Jesus and his actual response to when she touched the hem of his garment, that was just like insane to me.
going on? What's wrong? Who touched me?
Everybody back.
Back. I asked the question. Who touched me?
Master, the crowds are pressing in all around you like this, and you're asking who touched you? They all have.
Someone touched me. I felt that power went out of me. Whoever touched me, come forward.
Teacher.
It was me. Just the fringe of your garment, only the edge, I promise. You are not unclean.
Why my garment?
I'm sorry. I know I should have asked. But if you touched me, it would make you ritually unclean according to the law. I was sick. I was sick for 12 years. I bled and no one could stop it. But I believed if I could just touch a piece of your garment. And I was right. I was right. Thank you.
Who told you I could heal?
A man from the pool. And he was right. The blood has ceased.
My daughter.
I'm no one's daughter anymore.
Look up. Yes, you are. Daughter. It wasn't my piece of clothing that healed you.
But it was instant. I felt it right away.
I know, but it wasn't this. It was your faith.
Teacher, she was bleeding so long. We can take her.
She is clean. You have blessed me today. And I know. My daughter, I know it has been a fight for you for so long. You must be exhausted. Go now in peace. Your faith has made you well. I wish I could stay here longer, but I have business to attend to. Someone else has faith like yours. But I'm so glad that we found each other.
And how her faith is what healed her, you know, because he says, you know, who touched me? I felt power leave me. There were so many people touching him, but that specific touch withdrew power from him. Like, it took from him without his permission. And I don't know her name, but I would love to have faith like that.
There were so many women that God did amazing things with that weren't identified. Yes. They were identified through what he did in them, through them. But they weren't identified by their name. And we need to understand that it's his glory that he wants. He doesn't want, it's not our glory, it's his glory. And women, I know, I get it. You want to have your own identity. I want to know who I am. But let him identify that for you. And even if nobody knows your name, what he does in you will make him know you. We don't know the woman with the issue of blood, but we know her story. We don't know her name, but we know her story. I know her story. The woman that broke the alabaster box, I don't know her name, but I know her story. The woman at the well, I don't know her name, but it started the movement of Christ. I know her story. I don't need to know your name. I need to know your story. Your name ain't gonna change me, but what God did in you, that might change me. I don't need to know your name. I need to know what He did in you. What has He done in you? What is He doing in you, and what is He producing in you? Don't worry about your name being known. Worry about why He called you here. What are you supposed to do here? That's my thing. Now, if you want your name known, fine. That's what you feel like. That's your dream. Go for it. That's fine. But everybody ain't gonna know everybody's name.
The fact that story made the book, like it made. Think about all the. I mean, there were so many miracles that were not documented. You know, we know about the ones that God allowed us to know, the ones that He inspired. You know, for the disciples to tell in the book, and we don't know her name. And I think that was my whole point at the brunch, was like, identity is like a hard thing and a trap that the enemy can really attack women with, because we want to know who we are, because there's so much opportunity for us to lose ourselves in a marriage, in motherhood, in a career, in a image, in society, what society wants us to look like, what society wants us to, you know, you can lose yourself. There's so many people that were born and look totally different now. You know what I'm saying? Like, because of image. I'm guilty of it. I have so many things that I've changed about myself that I've altered to fit an image of some sort, you know. So I don't think all of it is like bad, but I do believe it can be a trap that for women especially we can kind of get caught in. And I think what God was pressing on my heart is that it's His glory that we should be after, and who cares if our name is ever known? You know what I mean? Like, I want to have faith so strong that my name is the least of the, you know what I'm saying? Like, that what He does in me is bigger than what my name is. Do you know what I mean? Like, how I allow Him to be manifested in my life, like His presence to be manifested in my life. I want that to be bigger than my name, so that generations after me, they may not know my name, but something that I allowed God to do in me has made an impact that is permanently here forever. And that's what that woman did, you know, and the woman at the well, and the woman that broke the alabaster box, and, you know, so many others. I just want, I don't know, I felt like that was something that, I don't know, God, I guess, impressed on me.
You know, I thought in my marriage that I was supposed to, you know, you grow up and you get married and then you have kids. But then when those things no longer sustained me, then it's like, well, dang. What, like, well, now what? You know, it's like, and then you wake up, you looking at him like, ugh. And then you looking at these kids and you're like, ugh. And you know, and it's like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to run away, you know? So I understand that, but if I would have took some time in my singleness, if I would have took some time and allowed God to identify me, right, and show me who He was, and then that way I would be able to look. I would be able to identify the type of man that He had for me, right? If I got into His presence, I would be able to know, all right, my daddy don't talk to me. My Father in heaven don't talk to me that way. My Father in heaven don't correct me like that, right? I would be able to identify what a man of God was, right? So then when I would get into that marriage, I wouldn't feel, so this ain't it, like this ain't it, right? So really take time to get before Him.
It was cool to see you guys out, you know. I try not to look at you guys too much, because if I see them and I cry, that might be weird because I might be in the middle of like saying something totally irrelevant and I'll just look down and I'll just start crying, because it's like a full circle moment, you know. Like, if you were to tell us when we moved into this house, do you know what I mean? Like, how messed up I was for weeks. You know, if you would have told me in that time that month of May especially. Well, May and June, shoot, I don't know. It's been... July is when things started clearing up a little bit, but
yeah,
May and June, if you would have told me, like, I would be sitting on that stage, I probably would have said, nah. No way. For as far as how I was feeling on the inside, you know. But, yeah.